Hey, Shalom Baltimore, Shalom Israel. This is the ISUPK Sabbath Service. We're going to be picking up where we left off last week. Shalom Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, Barakathum to all the Akims. Shalom Yahweh Shema, Lathab Hashem Yahushua to all the sisters. We'll get right into it. We're going to be starting in Genesis. We ended last week, Genesis chapter 50 and verse 4. So we're going to pick up today in Genesis 50 verse 5. Hold on 1 second. All right, we're in Genesis chapter 50, verse 5 in the Hebrew. Abiyah Hashaba'anya La'amar Hana Anakia Math Bakobaria Bashar Kuriyathia Liyah Ba'arataza Kana'ain Shema the Korabaranya Wa'aitha A'ila Na'a Wa'akwabara Ath Abia Wa'ashawaba verse 6 Wa'yamar Para'ai Aila Wa'kwabar Ath Abika Ka'ashar Hashabayaika verse 7 Wa'ya'al Yawasa Lakwabar Ath Abiyawa Wa'ya'alwa Athwa Kal Ibadya Para'ai Sequenya Bayathwa Wakal Sequenya Arataza Matazarayim verse 8 Wakal Bayath Yawasa Wa'akua Wabayath Abiyawa Rakah to Pam Wataza Anum Wabakurum Aizabwa Ba'arataza Gashun verse 9 Wa'ya'al Aimwa Gum Rakab Gum Parashium Wa'yahaya Hamakana Kabad Ma'ad verse 10 Wa'yaba'awa Aid Garun Ha'atad Ashar Ba'aibar Hayaradan Sapadwa Shum Masapad Gadawal Wakabad Ma'ad Wa'ya'aish La'abiyawa Abal Shaba'aith Yum verse 11 Wa'yara Yawashab Ha'arataza, Hakana Anya, Ha'abal, Bagarun, Ha'atad, Wayamarwa, Akal, Kabad, Zaha, Namatazarayim, Al, Khan, Kora'ah, Shema, Abol, Matazarayim, Ashar, Ba'aibar, Hayaradan. And that's it. And we're going to be reading Genesis chapter 50, verses 5 through 11 in the English. Genesis chapter 50, verse 5. My father made me swear, saying, Lo, I die, and my grave which I have digged for me in the land of Canaan, there shalt thou bury me. Now therefore let me go up, I pray thee, and bury my father, and I will come again. Verse 6. And Pharaoh said, Go up and bury thy father, according as he made thee swear. Verse 7. And just to catch everybody up, we're in the book of we reading about, of course, when Joseph was when Joseph was second in charge in Egypt, and that's when Jacob came, and he told Joseph, when he passed, he wants to be buried in a specific place, and that's where we at right now. And Joseph is going up to bury his father, and Pharaoh's, pretty much siding with him with that. Verse 7. And Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house, and the elders of the land of Egypt. Verse 8. And all the house of Joseph in his brethren and his father's house, only their little ones and their flocks and their herds they left in the land of Goshen. Verse 9. And there went up with him both chariots and horsemen, and it was a very great company. Verse 10. And they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond Jordan, and there they mourned with a great and very low sore lamentation. And he made a mourning for his father 7 days. Verse 11. And when the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw the mourning in the floor of Atad, they said, This is a grievous mourning to the Egyptians. Wherefore the name of it is called Abel Mizraim, which is beyond Jordan. All right, so now we're going to be reading Genesis chapter 50, verses 12 through 18 in the Hebrew. Waya Aishua, Bunyawa, Lawa, Khan, Ka'ashar, Tazawam, verse 13. Waya Sha'awa, Athwa, Bunyawa, Aratazah, Kana'ain, Waya Kwabarwa, Athwa, Bama Irath, Shadah, Hamakapala, Ashar, Quana, Abaraham, Hashadah, La'akazath, Kwabar, Ma'ath, Iparun, Hakathia, Al, Panya, Mamara'ah, verse 14, Wayashab, Yavasap, Mataza Matazaryama, Hawa'ah, Wa'akiwa, Wakol, Ha'aliyam, Athwa, Lakobar, Abiwa, Akarya, Kwabarwa, Abiwa, verse 15, Wayara'awa, Akia, Yawasat, Kaya, Ma, Abiyaham, Wayamarwa, Lawa, Yashatamanwa, Yashatmanwa, Yashatamnawa, Yawasat, Wahashab, Yashayab, Lanawa, Kal, Hara'ai, Ashar, Gamalanwa, Gamalnawa, Athwa, verse 16. Wayataza wa, Yawasat, La Amar, Abuka, Tazawa, La Panya, Mawathwa, La Amar, verse 17. Kaha, the Amarwa, La Yawasat, Ana, Sha'a, Na'a, Pashai, Akyaka, Wakata, Wakata Ath, Wakata Athum, Kaya, Ra'ai, Gamal, Gamal, Gamalwaka, Wa'aitha, Sha'a, Na'a, Lafashai, Ibadya, Alahaya, Abyaka, Wayabka, Yawasat, Badabarum, Aluwa. Verse 18. Wayalakawa, Gum, Akiwa, Wayapalwa, Lapunyawa, Wayamarwa, Hananwa, Laka, like Abad, La Ibadium. And that's it. So we're in Genesis chapter 50, verse 12 through 18. So I get 1 second. Verse 12, and his sons did unto him according as he commanded them. Verse 13, for his sons carried him into the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah, which Abraham bought with the field for a possession of a burying place of Ephron the Hittite before Mamre. And Joseph returned into Egypt, he and his brethren, and all that went up with him to bury his father after he had buried his father. Verse 15. And when Joseph's brethren saw that their father was dead, they said, Joseph will peradventure hate us, and will certainly requite us all with evil which we did to him. Verse 16. And they sent a messenger unto Joseph, saying, thy father did command before he died, saying, verse 17, so shall ye say unto Joseph, forgive, I pray thee now, the trespass of thy brethren and their sin, for they did unto thee evil. And now we pray thee, forgive the trespass of the servants of the God of thy father. And Joseph wept when they spake unto him. Verse 18. And when his brethren also went and fell down before his face, and they said, behold, we be thy servants. So here it is, now that Jacob is gone, his brothers, they still a little nervous because they know they did him wrong. You see what I'm saying? But like I say, this is a lesson to us that, like, you see what I'm saying? You forgive your brother, man. You forgive your brother. Like we so not used to it as a people, as a nation, to forgive each other. We will forgive somebody else of another nation, but when it comes to forgiving each other, it's like we have a hard time doing that. But this is the example that's being set forth. Like Joseph's brothers, they definitely, did some things against him. But at the end of the day, Joseph forgave him, and their conscience is still weighing on them about it. You see what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you forgive your brother, man, and you keep it pushing. We're going to be reading Genesis chapter 50. We're going to be going from verse 19 through 25. We're going to do that in the Hebrew, then in the English. Genesis chapter 50, verse 19. Wayamar alaham yawasap al the yara'awa kaya hataka alahayam anya, verse 20. Wa'atham kashapatham alya ra'ai alahayam kashabah lataba lama'ain aisha kayawam hazah Nahakayah Ain Rab, verse 21. Wa'aitha al the Yara'awa Anakia Akalakal Athkam Wa'ad Tipakam Wayanakam Awatham Wayadabar Al Labum. Verse 22. Wayashab Yawasap Wamatazarayim Hawa'a Wabayah Abua Wayakaya Yawasap Ba'a Wa'aishar Shunyam. Verse 23. Wayara'a Yawasap La Aparium, Bunya, Shalashium, Gum, Bunya, Makayar, Bun, Manashah, Yaladwa, Al, Barakia, Yawasap, verse 24. Wayamar, Yawasap, Al, Akua, Anakia, Ma, Wa Alahayim, Paquad, Yapaquad, Athkam, Waha'ila, Athkam, Mun, Ha'aratazar, Haza'ath, Al, Ha'aratazar, Ashar, Neshabai, La Abaraham, Laya Tazakak, Walaya Aikwab, verse 25. Waya Shabai, Yawasap, Bunya, Yasha'ala, La Amar, Paquad, Yaquad, Alahayim, Athkam, Waha'altham, Ath, Atazamathya, Mazah, and that's it. We're going to be reading Genesis chapter 50, verses 19 through 25. Genesis chapter 50, verse 19. And Joseph said, slugger. And Joseph said unto them, fear not, for am I in the place of God? Verse 20. But as for you, you thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good to bring to pass as it is this day to save much people alive. Verse 21. He telling them, like, listen, yeah, y'all did do dirty to me, but the Lord used this, to save many lives, so I ain't mad at you. That's what he's telling them right now. Verse 21. Now therefore fear ye not, I will nourish you and your little ones. And he comforted them and spake kindly unto them. Verse 22. And Joseph dwelt in Egypt, he and his father's house, and Joseph lived 110 years. And Joseph, verse 23. And Joseph saw Ephraim's children of the third generation, the children of also Machir, the son of Manasseh, were brought upon Joseph's knees. Verse 24. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I die, and God will surely visit you, and bring you out of this land into the land which he sware unto Abraham, Isaac, and to Jacob. Verse 25. And Joseph took an oath of the children of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry my bones from hence. All right, so we're going to be in, hold on one second. Genesis 50, verse. So we're going to do Genesis chapter 50, verse 26. And then we're going to hop over to Exodus. We're going to do Exodus chapter 1, verse 1 through 6. All right, so Genesis chapter 50, verse 26. Wayamad, Yawasat, Bun, Ma'ah, Wa Aishar, Shunyam, Wayakanatwa, Atwa, Wayasham, Ba'arawan, Wamatazarayim. Exodus chapter 1, verse 1. Wa Allah, Shamawa, Bunya, Yasha'ala, Habayam, Matazaraya, Matazaryama, Ya Aikwa, Ayash, Wabayatwa, Ba'awa. Verse 2. Ra'awa Bun, Shamaywan, Laya, Wayahawada, Yashashkar, Zabawalan, Wabunyaman. Verse 4. Done. One of Athalia, God, Wa Ashar. Verse 5. Wayahaya, call, Napash, Yatazaaya, Yaraka, Yaiqua, Shemayim, Slag, Shabayim, Napash, where you sap, where you sap, Haya, Omatazarayim, verse 6, on your mouth, Yawasap, will call, Arthur, will call, how the war, how and that's it. So Genesis chapter 50, verse 26. This is Joseph pretty much passing. So Joseph died being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt. Exodus chapter 1. Exodus chapter 1, verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob. Verse 2, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Verse 3, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. Verse 4, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. Verse 5, and all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob was 70 souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already. Verse 6, and Joseph died and all his brethren and all that generation. So now we're going to we're in Exodus chapter 1. We're going to be reading verses 7 through 13. We're going to do that in the Hebrew and then in the English. Exodus chapter 1, verse 7. Wabanya, Yasha'ala, Parawa, Wayasha Tazawa, Wayasha Tazawa, Wayasha Sharat Tazawa, Rasata Waya Shar Tazawa, Waya Rabwa, Waya Aitazamwa, but Ma'ad, with a Malah, Rataza, a thumb. Verse 8, Wayaquam, Malak, Kadash, Al, Matazarayim, Ashar, La'ar, Yadai, Ad, Yawasap. Verse 9, Wayamar, Al, Aimwa, Hana, Ain, Bunya, Yasha'ala, Rab, Wa'aita Zawam, Mamanwa. Verse 10. Haba, another Kama, Lawa, Pun, Yaraba, Wahaya, Kaya, the Quran, the Quran, Manakama, when a wasap, gum, Hawa, Al, Shana Ayamwa, one a lakam, Bunwa, wa Ayla, Man, Ha'arataza, verse 11. Wayashayamwa, Alua, Sharia, Masayam, Lama Ain, Ainathwa, Basabaldam, Wayabun, Aria, Masakanwa, Lapara'ai, Ath, Pathum, Wa'ath, Ra'imasas, verse 12. Waka Ashar, Ya'aimwa, Athwa, Kun, Yerabai, Wakun, Ya Parai, Waya Quatazawa, Mapunya, Bunya, Yasha'ala, verse 13. Waya Ibadwa, Matazarayim, Bunya, Yasha'ala, Baparak. And that's it. All right, so we're going to be reading Exodus chapter 1, verses 7 through 13. Exodus 1, chapter 7. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Verse 8. Now there rose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. So here it is, the Pharaoh that knew Joseph, he's out the way now. So now you got a new Pharaoh that's going to take over. And you can see that the relationship that the one Pharaoh had with Joseph and this new Pharaoh, which he's going to have with the people of Israel, is going to be completely different. And we're going to get into that too. Verse 9. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel more and mightier than we. Like, this is the spirit of this oppressor that we're under right now. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's a reason that they have so many, how the scriptures say they are confederate against thee. It's a reason for that, because just like they did in ancient Israel, they looking at it like it's so many of them. It's so many of them. When you look at blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, when we're one and we're together, we're not a minority. You see what I'm saying? Like, we had, like, if you look at it right now, Israel and Egypt at this point, all 12 tribes were there. If all 12 of us come together like we should, like we're called to do, we're no longer a minority. And our oppressor knows that. That's why he continuously goes out and persecutes our people. You see what I'm saying? Like, INS is not they're not raiding the homes of the East Indians and of the Asians. And they're 1 and 2 far as illegal immigration in this country. You see what I'm saying? But their houses is not getting raided. The same thing that was happening in ancient Israel is the same thing that's happening to us right now. Verse 10, he said, come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so go get them up out of the land. So he's scared that if Egypt went to war, that because there's so many of us, that we're going to turn on them and fight with whoever he's going to war with. That's the spirit of this oppressor that we're under right now, man. Verse 11, therefore they did set them over taskmasters. Here we go. Police officers, taskmasters, to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramsey. Like, this is what's happening right now. You see what I'm saying? So that we don't grow, because they fear us growing. First of all, growing together. They feel like when they go to war, we're going to side with whoever they go to war with. So therefore, they set taskmasters over us to afflict us. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is not America to this day, man. We're reading about Egypt, but we talking about America as well right now. You feel me? It's a verse 12, but the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. That's what you see right now. The more that they afflict blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the more we grow. You know why? Because the Lord is with us. They're not growing. The Lord ain't with them. So that's why they continuously afflict us. You see what I'm saying? Because they actually know that they're going to have to pay for their crimes. Verse 13. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. This is America right now. You see what I'm saying? Like, we serving with rigor. We serving with rigor because they're scared. They're scared that if we come together and be who we supposed to be in the Lord, you see what I'm saying? They can't touch us, man. They fear what we can become. They fear what we can do. You see what I'm saying? Especially when we serve our God. So that's why they put taskmasters over us, and they force us to serve with rigor, man. You working 40, 60, 80 hours a week. You see what I'm saying? Just to get by. And the thing is, you can't take no time off. You got to come right back. That's the rigor of it. You see what I'm saying? That's it on that one. So we're going to be reading Exodus chapter 1, verse 14 through 20 in the Hebrew. Exodus 1, chapter 14. Waya Marawa, Haya Yaham, Ba'ibada, Kusha, Bakamar, Wabala Banya, Bunyam, Yabakal, Ibada, Bashada, Kal, Ibada, Ibadatha, Ibadtham, Ashar, Ibadwa, Bahum, Baparak, Baparak, verse 15. Wayamar, Malak, Matazarayim, Lama Yalada, Ha'abarat, it's like Ha'abayarath, Ashar, Shum, Ha'akath, Shapara, Washum, Hashanayah, Pawai, verse 16, Wayamar, Bayaladka, Bayaladadkan, Ha'aibar Yawath, Ra'ayathan, Al, Ha'aibunyam, Bun, Hawa'a, Wahamathan, Athwa, Bath, Haya'a, Wakaya, verse 17. Whether you're un, Hamaya Ladath, Ha'alahayim, Wala'a, Aishawa, Ka'ashar, Dabar, Aliyahan, Malak, Matazarayim, Wathakayayan, Hayaladium, verse 18. Wayakura Malak, Matazarayim, Lama Yaladath, Wayamar, Lahan, Madawai, Aisha Yathan, Hadabar, Hazah, with the Kayayan, Slug, with Thak Yayan, Hayaladium, verse 19. With a Marwan, Hamayaladath, Al, Para'ai, Kayala, Kanashium, Hamatazarayath, Ha'abaryath, Kayawath, Hana, Batarum, Labawa'a, Alahan, Hamayaladath, Wayaladwa, verse 20. Wayayatab, Alahayim, Lamalayadath, Wayarab, Hayam, Ha'aim, Wayatazamanwa, Ma'ad. That's it. I'm going to be reading Exodus chapter 1, verses 14 through 20 in the English. Exodus chapter 1, verse 14. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. Verse 15. And the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shipra, and the name of the other Pua. Verse 16. And when he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew woman, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. You see what I'm saying? Like, listen, Israel is about to, like, he's putting a decree to kill every male born son for absolutely no reason. You see what I'm saying? Like, it ain't like Israel did nothing to him. You see what I'm saying? Like, and this what people always say, you know, why do y'all hate this? Why do y'all hate people? What? Listen, we're gonna read about it more, but just remember that he's killing our firstborn son because he fears our growth. You see what I'm saying? This is what happens right now. Like, they got an attack against, like, what do you think Planned Parenthood is? What do you think that's for? They want to still kill our baby, unalive our babies, man. And they did the same thing back in ancient Egypt. There's no difference. They say, and the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have ye done this thing and have saved the men children alive? Verse 19, and the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian woman. Listen to this. The Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian woman, for they are lively and are delivered ere the midwives come into them. Listen, black women, Hispanic and Native American women, you're not like no other woman on the face of this earth. You see what I'm saying? You are better than them. You are lively. You see what I'm saying? Stop trying to be like them. Stop trying to mimic them. You see what I'm saying? This is what they do. They get our women feeling like they're like. Here's the thing. We love our women just the way you are. But for some reason, our women get into their mind that they got to be like other women. You see what I'm saying? And when they try to be like other women, those other women try to be like them and take their place. Listen, black women, Hispanic and Native American women, you are like no other women out here. They just said it in the scripture. You see what I'm saying? It say in verse 20, therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. So now we're gonna be reading. We in Exodus 1. We're gonna read verses 21 and 22, and then we're gonna hop over to Exodus 2, and we're gonna read 1 through 5. Exodus 1, chapter 21. Wayahaya Kaya Yara'awa Hamayaladath Ath Ha'alahayim Wayaish Laham Bathayam, verse 22. Wayatazawa Para'ai Lakal Aimwa La'amar Kal Abun Hayalawad Haya'ara the Shalayak Hawa Wakal Haba Dakayawan. Exodus chapter 2, verse 1. Wayalak Ayash Mabayath Loya Wayakwak Ath Bath Loya, verse 2. With the har Ha'asha with the lad bun with the ra'ah atwa kaya tawab hawa with the tazapan hawa shalasha Irakium, verse 3. Wala yakala Iwad Hatazap Yanawa with the Kwak Lawa, the Bath, Kama'ah, with the Kamar, with the Kamara, but Kamar, what was a path with the Shum, Baha, Hayalad, with the Shum, Basawat, Shapath, Hayawar, verse 4, with Dath Tazar, with the Tazar, with Dath Tazar, Akathwa, Marakak, Lada'ai, Maha, Ya Aisha, Lawa, verse 5. with a rod, bath, para'ai, larakataza, al, hayar, when a irat yaha, halakath, al, yad, hayar, with a ra'ah, hadaba, hadaba, with the wak, hasawak, with the shalak, amatha, with the quaka, and that's it. All right, we're in Exodus chapter 1, verse 21 in the English. And it came to pass because the midwives feared God that he made them houses. Verse 22. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. We're in Exodus chapter 2, verse 1. And there went a man of the house of Levi and took to wife a daughter of Levi. Verse 2, and the woman conceived and bare a son, and when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. Verse 3, and when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and dabbed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein, and she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. Verse 4, and his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done to him. Verse 5, and the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. So that's what we're going to stop right now. But listen, like what we reading right now in Exodus, mind you, it's a new Pharaoh in charge. He fears that Israel is growing too rapidly, too big. He feared what they can do to him and his people. So he didn't put a decree out that every male born should be unalived at birth. You see what I'm saying? These midwives, they feared the Lord more than they feared their Pharaoh. And the Lord is going and the Lord blessed them for that. You see what I'm saying? But we're going to get more into this because we're going to see the similarities. We're going to see the exact same parallel to what was going on in Egypt then to how we're being dealt with today in this society, in America, man. And all across, everywhere we at, we've been dealt this way. And you're going to understand why once we get through these scriptures. All right, so with that, Madium. La Yasha Allah. Madium Wapan Yahapadam, which means rise and face the east. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew and then in the English. The Lord's Prayer, Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kudash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Balakwaka, Daba'ah, Batazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Baratazah, Kawa, Hayah, Bashemayim, Nathanunawa, Lakam, Call, Yawam, Wasalakinawa, Kabawatanawa, Kasalakinawa, Kabawatinawa, Wala'ah, Tabi'ainawa, Wanasayawan, Kabal, Habashainawa, Mayan, Rad, Hiyab, Lakab, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Wahatapara, La'awalamyam, Aman. And in the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever, so be it. This is going to conclude our Sabbath service. We'll give one courtesy salute. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, Barakathum to all the Akim. Yahweh Shema Alathun by Hashem Yahushua to all the sisters. Shalom.